time to preview the best games of week 3 in college football. And Ted, we got some good ones, baby.
SEC schedule's kicking up this week. We got some action, man. There's some good games out there.
Let's start in Knoxville. Number 6, Georgia travels to take on number 15, Tennessee. This will be the 2:30 ABC game. Georgia, currently a 3.5 point favorite, which that line opened
6.5.
significantly bigger than that.
Yeah, it was close to a touchdown when it opened.
So very, very interesting. And Tennessee has lost 8 in a row to Georgia. 8.
Wow.
All 8 have
Woo.
been by double digits. But you've got this suspiciously small spread. Any reason to think this is the year the streak ends?
I think Tennessee wins the football game.
Whoa.
I could be wrong on that. I haven't seen a whole lot of either team other than just kind of highlights and scanning through some games. I haven't really sat down and done a deep dive, but I just I I think that Tennessee's better than I thought they were going to be so far. Wasn't sure with the quarterback situation. I think Aguilar's looked pretty good so far. And I think Georgia's level just keeps ticking down a little bit closer to the main group in the SEC. I mean, there is not a standalone dominant, better than everyone else team in the SEC this year, at least that I've seen up to this point. Georgia's having some struggles running the football. How much of it is them just trying to work on some conventional stuff so far with what they've done, or how much is it real issues there? I'm not
How,
sure, but
how much of it is teams not respecting Gunnar Stockton in that passing game, you know?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just I just don't think the separation with Georgia is there. I think Tennessee, with what happened through the spring and how they've looked so far, they've got some really good momentum. I think the fan base probably smells some blood in the water with Georgia. Like maybe this is our year. I think the football team is in a really good place, and they've got some mojo going. They've got good momentum. I just think that Georgia doesn't have enough to just be the default answer anymore in the SEC, and that could end up being proven wrong. They go in there and smack Tennessee like they typically have. Well, then maybe I'll say, well, okay, I underestimated them. They are a typical Georgia team. We'll see.
We'll see. I feel like the only thing we know for certain in this game is it is going to be an electric atmosphere at Neyland.
It's going to be great.
That
It is.
that's about all we know. And that Tennessee defense worries me, man. It feels like they've taken a big step back from a year ago, but on the other side of things, like I don't know if Gunnar Stockton and that Georgia offense are good enough to really exploit them, because that Georgia offense hasn't exactly lit it up against Marshall and Austin P.
Nope. Nope.
So
That's what I'm wondering. Like, have they not lit it up because they're working on some core things and they're really trying to iron that stuff out, or do they not have that extra gear?
I that's a great question. I could see Tennessee saying, "Hey, we're going to load up on the run, and Gunnar Stockton, if you can beat us, here you go." Now they got guys at wide receiver, man, like Zachariah Branch, Colby Young. Like these guys are really good players. They got 2 good tight ends. And remember, last year in this game, Oscar Delp scored 2 touchdowns. Like he was really effective in the middle of the field. But I feel like out of all the units in this game, I I still lean towards trusting Kirby Smart and Georgia's defense the most. Like, if all of a sudden Joey Aguilar is throwing bombs down the field and Tennessee's wide receivers are running by Georgia's defensive backs, I'm going to be surprised, you know?
I agree. And I think the trend is going to continue across the entire conference most of this season. I think it's going to be a much lower scoring year than we've seen, maybe over the past. I just, I, there's a bunch of really good defenses, and I feel like there's a lot of offenses that are in transition, and I expect this one to be a fairly low scoring game.
So you've got Tennessee.
I'm taking Tennessee.
I, you know me, Ted. I'm a vibes guy, and I feel like the vibes are really good for Tennessee in this game. Like Joey Aguilar has looked really solid. Feel like they're better than a lot of people thought they were going to be, but not even the good vibes can prevent me from picking Georgia to win and cover this game. I just, I,
They've
I don't
earned
know.
that, man. They've earned that. When you don't know, you take Georgia, right? I mean, that's
I feel like they're still like they still have that respect from me.
yeah.
Bama no longer has that respect from me, whether that's right or wrong. Like Georgia, I still have that. When in doubt, yeah, let me lay the points with the dogs. You know what I'm saying?
They've
But
had some performances where you look at Georgia and you say, man, do they still have it? But the thing is, they still win those games. They're still
mhm.
winning those.
So I'll put. I think that Georgia defense controls the game for the most part. That puts Gunnar Stockton in the Georgia offense in good spots, and they get it done. Which I would love to see Hype get this win. Like that's our guy. I would love to see Josh Heupel in this streak and watch that place go crazy. But I don't think Tennessee is nearly as good as they were a year ago. But the vibes are better. The vibes feel better. So I don't know. It's confusing for me. But I like Georgia to go win on the road by a touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that a lot of it, like for Tennessee, if they can find a way to get up on Georgia and play with a lead in their stadium, I think that could help them a lot because what is Georgia's ability to come back with Stockton at quarterback? I mean, that's something we're going to have to find out.
And that place will be breathing fire if they get out
It
to
will.
an early lead. I'm
Yep.
very excited for that football game. All right, moving on to South Bend. Number 16 Texas A&M travels to take on the number 8 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This will be 6:30 on NBC. Currently, Notre Dame a 6.5 point favorite. And it's pretty interesting, Ted, because Notre Dame's an 0-1 football team. They lost to Miami in a great game in the opener, and they got a bye week, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare for A&M, and it feels like a must win for Marcus Freeman and the Irish if they want to accomplish their goals this season. Like the goal is they be a playoff team. This feels very, very important for Notre Dame if they want to be a playoff team.
Yeah. I think A&M might be the better team, like especially on the line of scrimmage.
A&M's defense has underwhelmed in the first couple of games. If they had looked better in their first couple of games, without hesitation, I'd be like, give me A&M plus 6.5. No doubt about it. But they haven't looked the way that I expected them to look under Mike Elko in year 2.
Yeah. It's some
So
truth to that.
it's a tough one. I am maybe shocked. I'm very, very surprised this spread is as big as it is. Like this is more like a -3.5 game for me.
I feel like it is a line for last year's Notre Dame team playing Texas A&M.
That's how it feels. I think that's a great point.
And that's kind of why I think A&M goes and wins the game is because this is not last year's Notre Dame team. They're not the same football team on the line of scrimmage. They offensive line, they're working through some stuff. They've lost a lot of experience all over that football team. I'm still not sure about Notre Dame at quarterback. Just sense some weakness there, and it's very difficult to take A&M to go win a big game on the road. Okay, that has not been something that they've been able to go pull off with any type of consistency. But I kind of like the fact that A&M's just been it's been quiet. They're not in the headlines every week. I think that's actually good for this team. And um, I really like Elko and his system on defense. I know they haven't uh really hit their full stride yet, but my guess is, you know, there's some games in the off season that you really spend time in the lab on. And I think this is one of those for Texas A&M to try and, they could get a win. This could really springboard them into conference play. Give me Texas A&M.
I'm with you. I'm taking A&M plus 6.5. It's too many points, man. So I
Yeah.
am,
Again, I think this is going to be another really low scoring game.
I'm with you. And the biggest difference between Notre Dame a year ago and this season for me is like, I do not think they're nearly as good along the offensive line. So if A&M's defense can slow down Jeremiah Love the way that Miami did and make CJ Carr drop back in predictable situations, like you mentioned, Ted, I think Elko's going to have some stuff for the young quarterback.
I do too.
But if they can run it efficiently and stay on schedule, they're at home. I don't know. This is one of those games where I go, I'm not really sure what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
It's one
I'm
of those classic, this game's going to come down to field goal kicking, isn't it? Type of
probably
games.
probably so. Yeah, it's we're still in that window at the beginning of the season where you're still not sure what to make of different teams. And we haven't seen much of Notre Dame. A&M's kind of flown under the radar, so big measuring stick game for both these teams.
I'm not sure if it matters, but it's probably important to note that this is Notre Dame's home opener. Marcus Freeman is 1-2 with losses to Marshall and Northern Illinois in home openers.
Ooh, man.
So Texas A&M is a little better than those teams. I don't, hey, past performance does not predict the future. That's not how this works, but it's just an interesting note. One thing to keep an eye on, Marcel Reed got banged up late in their game a week ago. Everything I've seen is that he's fine and he's going to be ready to go. But if he is hobbled at all, like his mobility is a big part of what he does and what they do offensively under Colin Klein. So that's certainly something to watch for early. But I think it's going to be a really close football game. So I'm taking the 6.5 with A&M.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good pick. I I I think it'll be inside the 6.5, but I think Texas A&M is going to win it. I'm not a believer in Notre Dame right now, but like I said again, I still developing what I think of a bunch of these teams, and this is one where it's going to sway my opinion one way or the other on both of these teams.
Okay. I'm going to let you pick our last game here. And this is how I'll frame it. Which game do you think will be more competitive? South Florida at Miami or Florida at LSU?
See, I am in such a weird spot right now because everything in the world tells you that LSU is just going to stomp Florida, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Florida is going to show up and give them something in Baton Rouge, but I'm kind of more interested if South Florida could go keep it rolling against Miami.
I'm definitely interested in both. I'm more interested in Florida at LSU for sure. But the South Florida Miami game, I would not touch that game with a 10-foot pole, man. Miami is currently a 17.5 point favorite. I want no part of that game. I kind of feel like the magical start to the season for the Bulls is going to come to the end because I think Miami's really talented at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
But undoubtedly, we will be monitoring that one. The
I mean,
halftime score will be very interesting. If that thing's close, everyone's flipping over to that game, like
yeah,
everyone.
I say I'm more like the LSU Florida game. That's the one that you watch all the way through, really, no matter what. But the South Florida Miami game is the one where if it's close, like you got a big rooting interest in it, and you jump on the bandwagon at halftime and see if they can finish the job.
But Florida at LSU, Florida at number 3 LSU, 6:30 kick on ABC. LSU currently a 7.5 point favorite. I think yesterday it was 8.5. So I guess it's a great bounce back opportunity for Florida after the disastrous loss to USF.
Yeah,
But Death Valley at night is not exactly the circumstances that you're looking for to bounce back.
a lot of truth to that. I am I'm probably doing a dumb thing here where I'm kind of questioning LSU. LSU is typically not a team that starts hot. They're a team that gets better and better and better. They catch momentum and they're going to be really good by the end of the year. Florida getting beat by South Florida takes some of the steam away from this game. And I know LSU's coached well and they're talented. Like their defense in that game against Clemson played really well. They didn't look as good last week. Um, and with how Clemson didn't look very good, I guess the win against Clemson looked fantastic originally, and now I'm kind of second guessing like uh, okay, where's the level really of both of these football teams right now? I think they're both eventually going to be really good. Um, I Because of the loss to South Florida, like if Florida has anything to them at all, like a lot of people predicted, with their offensive line, with their run game, Lagway is going to get better and better. The guy hadn't played all off season, missed so much time, so his level is going to improve. I actually think it's going to be another close, low scoring football game.
I'm with you on that. It is one of these situations where the Florida loss to USF somehow in a weird way puts more pressure on LSU in this game.
That's kind of my what I'm saying.
You can't be the team that loses to the team that lost to USF
Right.
at home at night. So I does that allow Florida to kind of show up and go, all right, what do we have to lose other than our coach losing his job, maybe.
Yeah. Right.
But the LSU defense earned a ton of respect with the way that they played, especially in that second half against Clemson. And the Florida's run game is solid. Just Lagway hasn't looked very sharp. And let's be real, like the guys around him haven't helped him out a ton.
Right.
There's been some competitive situations like where I'm watching go, hey, dude, catch the ball. But I think Florida's walking into a bad situation, man. I really do. I think LSU has the better quarterback. I think LSU has the better defense. And I think LSU's got better vibes right
Yeah.
now. I I think the spread is too big. Like my favorite bet for this game would be the under.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you. I think it's going to be a low scoring, competitive game where maybe more of a defensively driven game than people think. But I I have a hard time seeing Florida going into Death Valley at night and winning this game.
Yeah. with all the noise around Florida after that loss, I feel like they desperately need a good start to this football game. If LSU goes right down the field and scores, forces a 3-and-out, forces a turnover, and gets more like I kind of wonder where is Florida a fragile football team right now to where if things don't go good early on them, they check out a little bit. I don't know.
When I originally put the rundown together, the total was 54 and a half. It is now down to 48 and a half. So I'm not sure I love the under anymore, but I'm expecting whoever wins this game to be kind of like in the mid low 20s.
Yeah, I agree.
That's kind of the game. And one important thing to note for Florida's defense is I think they're getting Caleb Banks back for this game. He's not played for him up to this point. A lot of people have him as the number one defensive tackle coming off the board in the next NFL draft. He's a big piece for that
Yeah.
Florida defense. And LSU center got hurt last week. So that formula could really help Florida defensively. If you got maybe the best defensive tackle in the country going against a backup center for
Yeah.
you. So I dude, I think what if LSU just blows the doors off them and the Florida Gators just enter the pit of misery?
That is, I mean, I think the most likely scenario is a pretty competitive, low scoring football game. The next most likely scenario, I think, is that LSU jumps on them early and then just continues to separate. Like that's kind of the next thing that wouldn't surprise you. And then you get to a really close football game, and then you get to Florida, finding a way to come up with the upset. But I think the first half of this game is going to tell the story, and maybe even the first quarter.
Give me LSU minus 7.5. I here's my reasoning. Do I trust a Billy Napier football team to have all of the details so sharp to go on the road in an insane environment against a really good football team and play a really competitive game and maybe win the thing? The answer to that is no. I do not. I
When
do
you put
not
it that
trust him.
when you put it that way,
I do not trust him to have that team sharp enough in all the areas that it'll take for them to go win this thing. And mistakes have been, it's just been part of what Florida has been over the last several years under him. So,
I mean, when you think about it, it's like LSU's what, number 3 in the country right now,
and I know they
and
beat him a year ago. I don't care.
I kind don't you feel like though, given all the circumstances, that this would be the biggest win for Napier at Florida
Well,
since he's been there? They've had some big ones, I guess, but
the wins that they rattled off for him to save his job last year was
yeah,
those were significant. Those are his biggest wins.
yeah.
This
Beat number
could be
9
the
Ole
loss.
Miss.
This could be if they go to Death Valley and get dismantled and embarrassed. This could be the one where, oh, who's the interim coach?
That's kind of,
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, given the circumstances, if they were able to go on the road and beat number 3 LSU, I feel like that maybe be the biggest win that they've been able to pull off. And to think that they're in the position or in the shape as a football team to go do that right now with where Lagway's at, and that seems very difficult to imagine.
So you've got Florida
I'll take the, is it 7.5 now?
7.5 currently.
I'll take Florida in the 7.5.
Okay.
Just
On opposite sides. I like it.
I don't know. I'm liking a bunch of underdogs this week for whatever.
Good for you. You're just an underdog guy. Good for you.
Yeah.